Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Nation Bible Study. Today, we have more people joining our Nation Bible Study. And remember our drill? Our drill is learning entrepreneur tips from the Bible. So today, we have new faces. We have new people joining us. We have Matthews and we have Marcus. You guys want to say hi to everyone?
Hello. Hi.
Okay, that's cool. And like always, we have Jason with us. So today we are going to study the book of Acts, chapter 21, and we are on New Living Translation version. Today is very special. We have 4 people reading the Bible, so we'll take turns. So we go from me, Jackie, and then Jason, and then Matthew, and then Marcus, and then back to me. So we'll go in sequence. Each person will read 1 verse. So I will read 1, Jason read 2, Matthew read 3, Marcus will read 4, and I'll read 5. And we'll just going until the end of the Bible, of the chapter. So yeah, let's start our first section of our Bible study. Read the script. And I will kick off. After saying farewell to the Ephesian elders, we sailed straight to the islands of Kos. The next day, we reached Rhodes and then went to Patara.
There we boarded a ship sailing for Phoenicia.
We sighted the island of Cyprus, passed it on our left, and landed at the harbour of Tyre in Syria, where the ship was to unload its cargo.
We went ashore, found the local believers, and stayed with them a week. These believers prophesied through the Holy Spirit that Paul should not go to Jerusalem.
When we returned to the ship at the end of the week, the entire congregation, including women and children, left the city and came down to the shore with us. There we need pray
And said our farewells. Then we went aboard and they returned home.
The next stop after leaving Tyre was Ptolemais, where we greeted the brothers and sisters and stayed for 1 day.
The next day, we went on to Caesarea and stayed at the home of Philip the evangelist, one of the 7 men who had been chosen to distribute the food.
He had 4 unmarried daughters who had the gift of prophecy.
Several days later, a man named Agabus, who also had the gift of prophecy, arrived from Judea.
He came over, took Paul's belt, and bound his own feet and hands with it. Then he said, "The Holy Spirit declares, so shall the owner of this belt be bound by the Jewish leaders in Jerusalem and turned over to the Gentiles."
When we heard this, we and the local believers all begged Paul not to go on to Jerusalem.
But he said, "Why all this weeping? You are breaking my heart. I'm ready not only to be jailed at Jerusalem, but even to die for the sake of the Lord Jesus.
When it was clear that we couldn't persuade him, we gave up and said, "The Lord's will be done."
After this, we packed our things and left for Jerusalem.
Some believers from Caesarea accompanied us, and they took us to the home of Mnason, a man originally from Cyprus and one of the early believers.
When we arrived, the brothers and sisters in Jerusalem welcomed us warmly.
The next day, Paul went with us to meet with James, and all the elders of the Jerusalem church were present.
After greeting them, Paul gave a detailed account of the things God had accomplished among the Gentiles through his ministry.
After hearing this, they praised God, and then they said, "You know, dear brother, how many thousands of Jews have also believed, and they all follow the law of Moses very seriously.
But the Jewish believers here in Jerusalem have been told that you are teaching all the Jews who live among the Gentiles to turn their backs on the law of Moses. They've heard that you teach them not to circumcise their children or follow other Jewish customs.
What should we do? They will certainly hear that you have come.
Here's what we want you to do. We have 4 men here who have completed their vow.
Go with them to the temple and join them in the purification ceremony, paying for them to have their heads ritually shaved. Then everyone will know that the rumors are all false, and that you yourself observe the Jewish laws.
As the Gentile believers, they should do what we already told them in a letter. They should abstain from eating food offered to idols, from consuming blood or the meat of strangled animals, and from sexual immorality.
So Paul went to the temple the next day with the other men. They had already started the purification ritual, so he publicly announced the date when their vows would end and sacrifices would be offered for each of them.
The 7 days were almost ended when some Jews from the province of Asia saw Paul in the temple and rose a mob against him. They grabbed him, yelling, "Men of Israel, help us. This is the man who preaches against our people everywhere and tells everybody to disobey the Jewish laws. He speaks against the temple and even defiles this holy place by bringing in Gentiles."
For earlier that day, they had seen him in the city with Trophimus, a Gentile from Ephesus, and they assumed Paul had taken him into the temple.
The whole city was rocked by these accusations. and a great riot followed. Paul was grabbed and dragged out of the temple, and immediately the gates were closed behind him.
As they were trying to kill him, word reached the commander of the Roman regiment that all Jerusalem was in uproar.
He immediately called out his soldiers and officers and ran down among the crowd. When the mob saw the commander and the troops coming, they stopped beating Paul.
Then the commander arrested him and ordered him bound with 2 chains. He asked the crowd who he was, what he had done.
Some shouted one thing and some another, since he couldn't find out the truth in all the uproar and confusion. He ordered that Paul be taken to the fortress.
As Paul reached the stairs, the mob grew so violent the soldiers had to lift him to their shoulders to protect him.
And the crowd followed behind, shouting, "Kill him! Kill him!"
As Paul was about to be taken inside, he said to the commander, "May I have a word with you?" Okay, do you know Greek? The commander asked, surprised.
Aren't you the Egyptian who led the rebellion some times ago and took 4,000 members of the Assassins out into the desert?
No, Paul replied. I am a Jew and a citizen of Tarsus in Cilicia, which is an important city. Please, let me talk to these people.
The commander agreed. So Paul stood on the stairs and motioned to the people to be quiet. Soon a deep silence enveloped the crowd, and he addressed them in their own language, Aramaic.
Very good. We just completed reading through the script. Now, let's going to spend 5 to 10 minutes and we are going to read the script by ourselves to understand the story better. Because the next section of our Bible study, Learn, we will talk about what we learned from the script. So when you finish reading, just say, yep, I've done. Just give all of us a signal so we can move on. So there will be 5 to 10 minutes from now. Now we move on to the second part of our Bible study, Learn. What we learned from the script. Again, we'll follow the same sequence. I will go first, then Jason, then Matthias, and then Marcus. So for me, I learned in the very first part of this chapter, Paul wants to go to Jerusalem. He is very determined, but the people around him telling him, oh, don't go. It's dangerous. We don't have a very good feeling. You will suffer. But Paul was very determined. He's really firm. He said to himself, I'm going. Even though I will be arrested, I will still go. And that makes me think about the story of Henry Ford, the rich man, very, very rich man who found Ford, the car company. Before the car was invented, a lot of people around him said to Henry Ford, oh, you can't do it. You won't make it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. But in the end, Ford did invent the car model. And the car model went vital. Everyone loving this model, loving Ford's car. And Ford used to be one of the biggest company and one of the richest company in America. So what it teaches me is having a burning desire, knowing what I need to achieve. People around me may say to me, hey, Jackie, don't do it. Hey, Jackie, it's dangerous. Hey, Jackie, I think you should do this. You should do what I do. And I need to just believe in myself, listen to my inner voice to get what I want. Fake it until make it. Yeah, that's me. What about you, Jay?
That was awesome, Jackie. And just to add what you said, sometimes people around us will tell us to not do things because they don't have courage enough to do. So they think that telling us not to do is the savior, because they will be thinking in their comfort zone, and telling us not do in their mind is like they won't be getting out of their comfort zone, so they will be safe.
Exactly.
So yeah, for me, I'm gonna use the pretty end of this chapter. So from verses 37 to 40. So when it says, as Paul was about to be taken inside, he said to the commander, "May I have a word with you?" "Do you know Greek?" the commander asked, surprised. I'll skip and I'll go to verses 40 when it says, so Paul stood on the stairs and motioned to the people to be quiet. Soon a deep silence enveloped the crowd. So here we can see that Paul could speak Greek, and then Paul spoke Aramaic. That shows me that Paul was not only a smart guy, but a guy who could speak more than one language. And thinking about, and also when he spoke in Greek with the commander listened to him. And when he spoke to the crowd listened to him. So yeah, and to conclude what I was saying, having an interpreter mind, we have to understand our clients. We have to understand our audience. So, and speaking their languages. So we have to, doesn't matter if we are having like very wealthy clients or people with that is not a lot of money. We need to know their language and then understand them to have a better product. So once we can speak in the same language with them or of them, so we will be listened and our product will get for them. So our product will be more accepted once we understand our client's language. It is what I learned using an interpreter mind.
Awesome. What about you, Matthew?
Okay. The verse 27 say, the 7 days were almost ended when some Jews from the province of Asia saw Paul in the temple and rose a mob against him. They grabbed him. In in this verse, we learn that we will suffer for the gospel. We will suffer for Christ. Paul was known like a Christian, and he suffered this, and the people he hit Paul. Yeah, I finished.
So you are saying that what happened with Paul, it was similar of what happened with Jesus when he was crucified.
It's very similar.
Right. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah, I see something interesting. Yeah, when you were talking about the verse 40,
right,
I think some very interesting, because Paul in a moment talking in Greek, and other moment Aramaic.
yeah,
And I see that he was prepared to whatever, because and we can use this in our lives, because we must be ready. We don't know what God will do, and we don't know about the opportunities that will come for us. And Paul here was ready to be with the commander and to be with the people, and we need to be ready. Whatever God will do, the opportunity when come, we must be ready to.
Yeah.
At this moment, at this circumstance, Paul was ready. And another thing that is very, very interesting is the verse 10 until the verse 14, and talk about a prophet that talked with Paul something difficult, a trouble that would come to him, and the people there believed that Paul want to be with them, and hope with the love to God, and with the courage, he continued, and he continued to do what he believed that God wanted it. And this to me is the part of the most interesting part of this chapter. The courage, as Jackie said,
right,
that he had to continue. He knew what was waiting for him, but he said, I'm ready to be that to, I'm ready to whatever, because the love and the courage that was in him, making him, gave him this option.
That's great, man. That's very powerful. Very powerful.
I think what you say is really, really good, Marcus. Very impressive. And also, Matthew, you summarized a little bit of what Paul was suffering, and similar to Jesus. That's really good. And Jason, your conclusion was great. Now we are moving on to the last section of our Bible study. What we are going to do in the following weeks. From this Bible or not from this Bible. It can be your personal goal, your personal achievement. If you want to feel like it, you can share it in this Bible study. So we go from this old sequence. So I'll go first, Jason go next, and then Matthew, and last Marcus. So for me, what I'm going to do in the coming week is I have done myself a short-term plan, 6 to 12 months. In the following week, I will look at my other plans that I have made in the past and review them, because my life have changed a little bit. So I have to go back to my plan and change my plan. And also I'll be reading another few chapters of a book called Become an Effective Software Engineering Manager. I want to read this book because I want to learn more skills in the software management. I'm a mobile app developer, but I want to learn more skills to get myself to the next level, to management. So that's me. What about you, Jay?
That's good, man. Always thinking higher. Always great.
Learning. Never stop learning. Yeah. A lot of people think the learning is finished after the day they left university, but that's not true. After you left university, that's where the study begins, the university of life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. Like for me, I'm quite happy because last week I said that I was gonna work on my to-do list, and I did it. So guys, if you heard the last podcast, you remember that. And so this week I did it, and I'm happy with my progress on my to-do list. And for this week, and I'll be working on my financial plan because I have some debts, and I need to organize my financial life. Otherwise, I won't grow, because I'll be having some financial barriers. And I know that what's happening is because of my fault, because I was not organized. So I need to be organized, and yeah, that's it. That's it for me. That's me.
Very good. Very good. That's pretty powerful already. The next, Matthew, would you like to tell us what would you want to do in the coming week?
Okay. We mustn't be afraid. We know that we will suffer, and we are gonna weep, but Christ is with us. And because the world is bad, we suffer, we weep, but he promised that we will be happy.
I will continue studying. Yeah, I've been studying something about civil engineer, and I want to be more organized to study exactly what I need, and not to lose my time in other times, in other studies that there is not to this moment. I want to give more importance to the correct sequence of my studies. To have what I want to have, what God has to me. I think that's it.
So very good. Thank you, everyone. That's the end of our Nation Bible Study. Thank you all for listening to our Bible study. We have new people joining us. The crowd is getting bigger. The group is getting more exciting. Before we finish, any one of you want to jump in and say something to the audience?
So hello guys, it was great to have you all here to do this Bible study with Marcos and Matthew and Jackie. It was pretty awesome, powerful. I hope you guys enjoy as well. So leave your comments down below and share with us what you have learned and what you have been doing on your to-do list, or what you are doing during your week according to what you have learned. See ya, guys.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Okay, see you. It was a pleasure to be with you. I thank you for to be here. Thank you. See you.
See you later, guys. Bye bye.
See ya, man. See ya.